I feel like we're besties now after this. What's up, guys? It's Denise Salcedo. It's definitely going to be a podcast party tonight. Denise Salcedo is here. Righteous Reg is here. And we are going to break down AEW Dynamite. Reg, where can I even begin? This was a wild episode of Dynamite. What did you think of, like, overall, just like coming out of it?
I think, like, starting off the show with that super hot match, and I thought, like, man, this might be a peak in the show. But then how we ended it, that was just like I tweeted, it felt like this was the go home show to Forbidden Door, like just with how all the developments we got to the show, but we got more shows coming. But this one felt like a really big Dynamite, like a statement, like we got something coming for y'all, and here it is.
You know, I like that you said that it felt like the go-home show to Forbidden Door because we're only 11 days away, but I did feel that way. This was one of the shows where, you know, because of course the opening match took up, you know, so much time from the show, it felt like everything else was sped through, but there was just so much. I mean, we got pretty much like half of our card now for or maybe not even half of the card, because usually Toni does very, very long cards and we have 4 matches. So that's technically not half, but
probably has 10 more matches to announce.
Exactly. But we got so many matches announced, not just for Forbidden Door, but also for Collision, which is going to be the premiere this Saturday. And then on top of that, we just got so much that went down on Dynamite. We had a pretty exciting ending to the show that had me last minute changing the thumbnail and changing the title. So that's why we were like out here late, because when stuff like this happens on the show, clearly, you know, we got to update and whatnot. But we're going to talk about all of that and more here today. Before we get into it, just a heads up to everybody, if you guys want to help support this show, please give the channel some love, subscribe, give this video a like, make sure to give some love to Righteous Reg, our guest here today on Twitter. And then also Reg is going to be with us here for the rest of the month on Dynamite post shows. I'm so excited. Thank you for committing to that.
No, thank you. And I hope every Dynamite is like this from the rest of June, because this is crazy.
I know, right? It makes our job so much better. But with that being said, to everybody here, and the way that I'm able to afford the way that I'm supposed to, oh my gosh, the way that I can afford having guests on here is by sending in the super chats, guys. Get your questions, get your comments, get your statements read on here, and we will, go through this. And we got so many already. So, Reg, let's just get right into it. Our first super chat here is from Jake Salazar, who says, Reg, that ending was cinema. Does anything change this for you?
No, it does not. That ending was a pro wrestling ending. That's it. That's all. No Emmys.
No Emmys. It was great, but no Emmys.
Yes.
We got brand new YouTube member, infamous Raider Loco, just became a member and also sent in a super chat saying, my first ever membership. Love all the content you do. Denise, keep going higher and higher. Tonight was great. So much to look forward to. Forbidden Door is going to be better than the first one. And given that Forbidden Door last year won best show for so many people, and it was voted up there, got its awards, do you think that it will be better than last year, just based on what's been announced so far?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be better just after Kenny Omega and Ospreay and Bryan Danielson and Okada was announced. So yeah, anything else is just a cherry on top, but this is the show of the year already, just based off those 2 main events. But everything they've announced since, it's like, oh yeah, they're definitely trying to outdo what they did last year. And it's so it's better for us as fans that we get Kenny in this time and we get Bryan this time, and the circumstances are a lot different than what was presented last year. So yeah, this year is going to be an all-timer show of the year, like by far.
I agree with you on that. Matt Corso sends in a super chat saying, do you think they should put the belt on Skye? She has star potential. So we'll talk more about this match when we get to it. But I will say this right now. Did you notice, Reg, the huge reaction that Skye Blue got during that match when they kind of teased a moment there where it almost seemed like she was going to defeat Toni Storm?
Yeah, they did. That was pretty surprising. I mean, but they've been building up Skye pretty consistently here the last couple months. But I think AEW crowds, they love a surprise. They love something that's unexpected. And to get that close to it, yeah, you saw how they reacted off of that.
And we got infamous Raider Loco who says, gotta love OC backstage segments. Him leaning on Renee. Also can't forget them pushing Sammy hard as a face. Turning on Jericho Appreciation Society might do it. Actually, infamous Raider Loco just reminded me that. So Reg, you've never seen me like watch a show when I'm doing these, because not only am I like tweeting all of the big moments and getting screenshots and this and that and taking my notes, but I took a screenshot of Orange Cassidy leaning on Renee Paquette because I thought it was hilarious, but I forgot to post it. So infamous Raider Loco super chat just reminded me.
But now you remember. There you go.
Damn. Jake Salazar says, my guy has a lot of things ahead to get off of his chest. We back out here, Reg. I'm gonna get my ish off Saturday on Grab City.
I'll see you, Jake. We'll get into it for sure.
Stephen Martrulli says, Denise, do you see AEW making more titles for Collision? Do you feel that they need more titles? I almost feel like they don't, but I almost think that just to have something specific for Collision. Wait, no, I take it back, Reg, because Tony Khan did say, you know, all of our champions are going to be appearing anywhere.
Right.
So if they make a title specifically just for Collision, kind of wouldn't fit, right?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I just think with the amount of championships they have, it's enough to sustain on both shows, because we don't see all the championships always defended on Dynamite. So, I mean, Orange Cassidy could be over there. The TNT championship could be defended. Like, it is on TNT this time. So that could be maybe brand specific more than it is on Dynamite. I see they're starting this Saturday with the TNT championship defense. So if they just kind of continue that, I think that'll be a great way to build that show and to build that championship.
And a lot of our people on our chat are pretty much, I have a stream of a bunch of no's. People just do not want to see any more championship belts. So I guess that answers that question. Grapple Geekery says, easily a 5 out of 5 show. My only complaint was having a babyface go up against the Outcast solo for the 1000th time. Even so, Skye looked great. Infamous Raider Loco says, just to say, I agree with Reg. Felt Go Home show completely had to look at the calendar and make sure. And we're only 11 days away. That's not a lot of time. That means we got to get, you know, like you said, those 10 matches or however many added within the next couple of shows.
Right. We got Rampage coming up. We got Collision, and we got another Dynamite and another Rampage and another Collision. So there's a whole bunch of shows until then. We're going to make a whole bunch more developments. This was a great way to do it, kind of with the New Japan talent. Wasn't all on hand, but even the videos that they presented at this show got people hyped for the show. So it worked out.
Reggie Simmons says, Hollywood and Oakland in the same space. It's crazy out here. Much love from Chicago. Hey, that should be like our thing. We should be like Northern and Southern California.
California, baby. Yes, that's what it is. There you go. Thanks, Reggie Simmons. That's a great idea, because we are representing California always, where they have the best tacos, you know, whatever.
And okay, so I know only people that are from California are going to get this, but I saw a meme, and I've seen it now for a couple of years floating around on Facebook and whatnot. But apparently, things about Californians is Californians love to talk about how much they love California.
I mean, that's true. I am always saying how much I love California, because I really do love California, especially when I go somewhere else, Denise, and I'm like, this is where you guys live? Are you sure?
Oh my God, Reg, you are literally a piece of like my heart right now. That is literally me all the time. That's why I'm always trolling Sean and shitting on him for living in Kentucky.
That's wild, Sean.
You know, it's not too bad for Will over in Denver. Like, that's fine. That's doable. But even then, I wouldn't move to Denver. Like, no offense, Will.
Sorry.
But it's just totally different. But we'll get into our love for California later on. Brandon Rosette says, I'm so hyped for Forbidden Door in my hometown. I got tickets, baby. Are you sure you don't want to come to Toronto, Denise? I'm going to be there.
Look, boom, boom, bam. That's next week. You're about to be on a plane, Denise. Look at this.
I know. I'm looking forward to it. It's only my second time in Canada. So, and I've never been to Toronto. So I really don't know what to expect from Toronto, but I'm looking forward to it.
Gun, that show. That's crazy. You're about to be at an all-timer.
I was almost not going to go, but my good friend, you all know him, Will, convinced me. And he basically made me feel bad. He said, this, Reg. He said, Denise, are you really going to end your streak? He's like, you've been going to all the AEW shows. Are you really going to end your streak?
Points are being made, Denise. points are being made. I mean, I agree. You are at all the shows. It's gonna be weird without you there. So I mean, it's great that he convinced you. And who else to convince you, right? You know.
That's true. Jake Salazar says, nasty work. That Jungle Kid is facing Sanada. We'll get to that in just a second. And Injurku says, between 3 AEW shows, it's going to be easy to watch and not having to worry about who's going to be in catering. Well, that's definitely true.
All the catering people are coming out for Collision, baby. It's lit. They announced Miro. They announced Andrade. Like, nobody's backstage. They're all front stage. I can't wait. It's great.
All right, so let's get into the show, guys. There's so much to get into. We got another super chat from Jake Salazar who says, just tell Will Naito better be smooth walking out that tunnel next week.
Hopefully. I hope so too.
All right, so let's do this. Let's get into the matches that have been announced for Forbidden Door and everything that took place regarding all of that. So let's start off with the big one, actually, since we just, or not the big one, but just given the fact that we just got this super chat, I might as well kick it off with this match here.
Yes.
And so basically what we had today was a video promo from Sanada. He appeared via video and he announced that he is going to be putting his IWGP World Heavyweight Championship on the line in an open challenge. Now, we were all thinking, hey, who is going to be the person who's going to answer this open challenge? There was a lot of theories, and I don't necessarily think that anyone predicted the name that ended up accepting this, and it is Jungle Boy.
Yes.
Reg, thoughts on this?
I don't know, Denise. I don't know what to think of this. I think I'm interested in the match. I didn't think they were going to do it so quickly. It's like they did the package, they did something, and then like the next thing was Jungle Boy saying, I accept. I actually kind of like this match though, because Forbidden Door, the best thing about Forbidden Door is just kind of like these unexpected matches you would never really want to, or never really expect to see on a big show like this. And, you know, they've been building Jungle Boy up for a lot of years, saying that he's one of the pillars. He just was in the AEW title match. So for him to be in an IWGP title match, I think it works. It's not too surprising for me. It's pretty shocking. I thought there's a lot of other guys on the roster who maybe could have did it. I thought maybe Eddie Kingston, who returned at the end of the show, maybe could have had a shot at being the one. But, you know, I'm not mad at it.
So this one's interesting because I saw some mixed reactions.
Yes.
When I posted the question on Twitter asking people what they thought of this, a lot of people were kind of basically not too thrilled about it because, like I said, I think there was just a bunch of other people that a lot of people might have thought up first. Like when I was thinking, I didn't think that they were going to announce the person today. I thought we were going to find out at the actual pay-per-view. So I wasn't expecting this. And so I was originally going to come out here with like theories of who I thought could end up having this match with Sanada. And I saw a lot of people bringing up Jon Moxley. We haven't seen him challenge for the title just yet. So Moxley was somebody that I was thinking about. Another person that I was thinking about was also Chris Jericho. The reason why I thought of him was because, and I know some people are like not probably going to like the idea, but the reason I thought about Jericho was because he's a big name.
He's a big name.
Right. It would mean a whole lot if it was to be, you know, Jericho versus Sanada and Sanada getting a win over Jericho. Like that would mean a lot. So I was just kind of floating around, you know, a couple of names. Jungle Boy never crossed my mind whatsoever. Now I got a message from a friend of mine who is more so a New Japan fan than an AEW fan. And my friend said that this was a slap in the face to Sanada, the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, having him in a match, having this match be with Jungle Boy. He also said, my friend also said that might as well not even fly Sanada out there for this match. So there are some hot takes about this. Now,
tough one.
I don't feel that strongly, like being like, oh my God, I think this is a terrible idea. I don't feel that way whatsoever. But it just wasn't the person that I necessarily expected. However, this also reminded me of something, Reg. Do you remember last year when they announced that Orange Cassidy was going to be Will Ospreay's opponent and the reaction on Twitter to that?
Yeah, people were it was kind of the same reaction, like Orange Cassidy, he can't go with Will Ospreay. He'll never be able to do this. He'll never be able to pull this off. But it ended up being one of the best matches on the show. And well, I think Will Washington says that's his favorite match of the year that year. So there's a lot of people that are gonna be on that same boat. I think we're gonna go in being like, well, why Jungle Boy? Then he's gonna do the match, and then people are gonna be like, oh yeah, of course, it's gonna be one of those sleeper matches. My thing just is they're two wrestling characters. I don't really know if they like mesh as a match. I'm ready to be, have my mind changed. I'm ready to be mesmerized out there. And Jack Perry's a really great wrestler, and Sanada's not the IWGP World Champ for nothing. It'll be a great match. It's going to be hard to. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like I said, the two top matches. Anything underneath that, just like good luck, you guys. Like Bryan Danielson and Okada are going to be out here saying like you could do whatever you want, and then Kenny Omega and Ospreay are going to be out here like it doesn't matter what you do. So give Jack a chance. Let the young boy get his title match. It'll be fun.
Get the young boy in some action without having to wash any balls.
I'm saying exactly, easy as that.
No, and so yeah, that's why I brought it up, because the whole thing with Orange Cassidy last year was a lot of people are like, all down and on the dumps about it, and it ended up being the best match of the night.
Yeah,
and so definitely, who knows what we can get here out of Sanada and Jungle Boy. Do I think it's going to be the best match of the night? Definitely not, because you got some other big ones on there. But I do think that. Well, I hope that it'll be a really good one. Yeah. And we need to talk about Jungle Hook for a second. Because when this was announced, when he accepted the open challenge, it seems like Hook did not know. And he even told him like, oh yeah, don't worry, after this, we'll focus more on each other. And can you also make sure to be in my corner? Do we sense a little manipulation here from Jungle Boy?
Yeah, Jungle Boy was being pretty smug in his little interview. He's like, Hook, you're my best friend. I just need you to be in my corner so bad. And it was just like, you acting littles. You can see the little wheels turning, and people keep saying this Jungle Boy heel turn. That felt like a heel promo. It felt like Hook was being manipulated. Hook was just like, I guess, dude, you're being weird. Like, oh, yeah, I'll be in your corner, but why are you being so weird? I don't like how Jungle Boy's acting. And I don't know if that's going to help him going into his IWGP title match, honestly.
I don't think so either, but I kind of like it though. I like that he was kind of being a little bit super selfish and being like, oh yeah, don't worry, I'll worry about us later. But also, can you be there for me, like rooting for me?
We'll be a tag team immediately after though, but I need you to have my back first.
Yeah, exactly. So I did kind of like that from Jungle Boy, but we got so many more super chats to get into. And this is from, let's see what we got here. This is from Roberto Arsenal, who says, I think CM Punk calls out Kenta too close to Collision. And there was, reports that already came out about that, rumors of, hey, we might be getting Kenta versus CM Punk. And Kenta was your pick, Reg. Last week when we were on the show, you said, Kenta versus CM Punk would be something that you would definitely, would like to see happen, especially with all of the tweets that Kenta has been putting out in regards to CM Punk.
Yeah, this has been a feud building legit since CM Punk started hitting the go to sleep in WWE. Kenta has always been like, that's my move. That's my move. There's been a lot of talk this week about people being like, well, Kenta isn't the Kenta that he used to be. And CM Punk, blah, blah, blah. It's not going to be the match you guys expect. Dude, relax. This is CM Punk. This is Kenta. They're going to give you exactly what you need. It's not going to be the match we would have got in 2010 or 2003 or 2000, whatever, but it's going to be a great match just because they've been building it for so long. And them trading off hitting go to sleeps is going to be amazing. We're all going to be so hyped for it.
I think so too. And here's the thing with that. It's like, yeah, maybe it's not going to be the match that they would have had several years ago, but would you rather have the match and maybe it not being what you thought it was going to be, or just never get the match at all?
Right, exactly. No, I'll take this match. If it's past its prime, who cares? Like, we're going to get it. There's been years where it was just like, that'll never happen. CM Punk's gone. Like, why do they even keep talking about this? And now we might get it. So we just got to be excited about it. Should we get into this CM Punk video package though? Remember
Let's get into it.
How heat was this, Denise? Like, he came back talking some big talk, saying that if he doesn't know what he's going to say when they give him the mic at Collision, he doesn't know what he's going to do until he's in the ring. I know this one got you pretty good, didn't it?
Oh, it did. So he comes out there and he basically says that he doesn't know what he's going to do or what he's going to say until that microphone is in his hands. And they're kind of showing a montage of him, kind of preparing to come back to AEW, and he's talking about having scores to settle. We're seeing more clips of him and his past with AEW, and he's looking very stern, very serious into the camera. Like, this ain't fun. I'm gonna hand out ice creams and drink Pepsi, CM Punk.
Nah, this is different.
Man is pissed. The man is pissed. And here's the thing, is that they gave us exactly what we needed to sort of get here, in the sense that we all want him to come out and talk at Collision.
Totally.
Obviously, he's not going to come out and be like, breaking the fourth wall and telling us all about the drama with the elite. But we still need to get, I don't know if it's some sort of mention or a read in between the lines type deal, but the thing is that CM Punk is known for going out there and saying what he wants to say. So he can't go out there and give us crap in the sense where we don't get anything.
I think the crowd will boo if he goes out there and he just gives them some rah BS, like happy to be back. Like, you have to at least mention why you've been gone. Where have you been, fool? What happened? What's going on? Why do we have this brand new show because of you? Please tell us why. If he just goes out there and is like, thank you guys for coming to Collision, I'll see you later in this match, people are going to be upset. Yeah, we're expecting some kind of thing, and it's CM Punk. If CM Punk's on a show, you got to give him a segment to talk. It's been a long time. Even if he does BS us, he'll find a great way to BS us because he's so good on the mic,
I think he definitely has to mention clearly that he was the champion. Yes. So I think that's the big one there. I'm expecting some MJF mentions, of course, since he's the champ now. So that's what I'm thinking. When he said, oh, I got some scores to settle, I think they wanted to play it off as like, ooh, maybe he's going to mention the elite. Who knows? But I think it's more so along those lines instead. But I do hope we get some like read in between the lines type deals.
Totally. I wouldn't think I couldn't imagine him going out, getting a mic and not doing at least one thing to be like, you guys know. It'll be weird, but I mean, he could be on a super short leash at this point, Denise. They could be like, we're going to give you this mic, dude, but you better relax when you get out there.
But is CM Punk the kind of guy that you can keep on a leash?
Yeah, when you started saying it, I was already like, I forgot it is CM Punk. He doesn't care about any of that. He'll be like, yeah, all right, dude, thanks, and just do it. So,
like, once the mic is hot, that's it. Like, Tony Khan's out there playing the lottery at this point. Like, who knows what the hell's gonna happen? I'm trusting this guy.
We just have to hope he doesn't say something crazy. Have fun out there, and it's gonna be live too. Ooh.
Or what if he does something similar to what MJF did that one time in Los Angeles in the first Dynamite, first Dynamite in Los Angeles, where he goes off and, talks all this shit and gets cut off and walks out. I mean, I'm not expecting him to walk out considering he just got back here, but that kind of a style of a promo.
Yeah, like if he just came out and he was like, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, blah, blah, blah. We were just like, oh, shit. That would be pretty wild. I don't think he would. But I mean, we don't know what's going to happen at all during this. They could be at this point, they could be all friends. Like, we didn't know. And they could be like, he could immediately come on and be like, I'm working an angle with you guys. They're not at all. This is definitely rapid, just me talking. But he could come out and be like, Kenny Omega, you know what? I'm going to kick your ass. Definitely not. But that is a possibility. We don't know anything that's going to happen. That's what's so interesting about this Saturday is it's going to be, we've been building up to this moment for a long time.
What would you do? What would your reaction be if CM Punk did go off script during this?
I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be laughing. I'd be like, yeah, of course. Like, I'm not surprised if anybody would do this and go off script and be like, I'm not going to do this, but end up doing it. It'd be CM Punk and it'd be a part of his character and it would be great. But I hope for the sake of AEW that he just comes and plays ball and he's nice and he starts building to these wrestling angles because I'm tired of it, Denise. I cannot hear about the Elite and Kenny and CM Punk and Ace Steel and Larry. I can't hear about it anymore. I just want to watch some good wrestling. Yeah, Larry too. Larry too's catching a stray because he's part of this. I cannot see this anymore. I'm done. Let's get to some good wrestling. Let's get to these great events this summer. Let's have fun.
All right, well, you heard it here from Reg. Let's have some fun, man. All right, we got so many more different comments in here and see what people are saying. This is from 554K, who says, not sure if my membership milestone posted on my internet is slow stream, but was buffering for me. But great Dynamite tonight, and I hope you have been well. Thank you so much to 554K. Jake Salazar says, Denise, respectfully, do not compare Jungle Boy to Orange Cassidy. I'm calling the authorities now. You guys know what I mean.
Yes.
554K says, and I hope you both are doing well. I wanted to say that in the last super chat, but my message was too long. Thank you so much to 554K.
That's really cool.
S. Morgan says, should have been Jeff Jarrett who accepted Sanada's
Y'all are
challenge.
talking crazy in these super chats. Jeff Jarrett and Sanada's the nastiest thing I've seen. Why would you do that? Why would you even say that? Disgusting. Hey, I'm surprised though. Jeff Jarrett will get a title match like no other.
Do you think he'll get a title run? What would you do? What would you do if Jeff Jarrett next year was AEW World Champion?
Denise, why? Why are you doing this?
I'm not saying I want it. I'm just trying to get an answer.
Like you got Kenny Omega, Bryan Danielson, Swerve, Orange Cassidy, and Denise is like, what if Jeff Jarrett was champ? Him and his guitar.
I wonder how many people, like, I would love to see the reaction to that. I'm not saying it should happen.
Because you're the Hollywood sicko. You just want chaos, chaos, chaos.
Damn, that would be crazy. All right. Bo Boop says, I personally would love to see Jeff Cobb versus Wardlow for the TNT Championship at Forbidden Door. I love Jeff Cobb. Man is a beast, and so is Wardlow, so that would be pretty interesting.
I like that match.
Mike Parker sends in a super chat saying, I have no dog in the fight for Jungle Boy versus Sanada, but fans are too quick to crap on things. I didn't care about most of Forbidden Door going into it last year and ended up loving the show. This is a pretty interesting comment too, because I feel like, you know, again, we always talk about viewer habits and what people watch and what people don't watch. And AEW does take a lot of not a lot of criticism, but they do get a lot of people that say things like, oh, what about, they're criticizing AEW for, you know, what about the casual fan and only the hardcores know this and that. So sometimes you assume like, oh, that just because this card is being put together, that everybody knows everybody who's in the card or that everybody's following New Japan or whatever the situation is. And people's viewers' habits are different. And so there could have been a lot of people like Mike Parker here who says like, maybe I wasn't too interested in the card last year, but the show, good wrestling is good wrestling, and it ended up delivering.
Yeah, that's pretty understandable because like it's pretty niche. Like if you watch the show as like just an AEW fan, you see these like Japanese guys, even Sanada as the champ. You're just like, who are these people? I don't know who these people are. I watch AEW. I don't keep up with New Japan, so it can seem like a shock. But that's what I like about this time of year is like there should be times when hardcore fans are catered to. Like they companies spend so much time being like, you're a hardcore, you're a dork, blah, blah, blah. We got to cater to the kids. We got to do this. No, I want somebody to be like, here's matches that you're going to know. And some people might not know, and it's niche and you've wanted this match for 10 years. Here it is. Like, finally, it's been so long. I've been wanting to be catered to. So I understand on the side of like, you might not know who you're watching. You might not know what's going on, but it's going to end up being a good show. And then on my side, it's just like, I'm getting Bryan Danielson and Okada, dude. I don't care what anybody thinks. Like, it's going to be a great show either way. So
I like how you said, I've been waiting a long time to get catered to.
Look, these are just the facts, Denise. A long time, a long damn time.
I'm dead. That was like the big thing I took away from that. I'm like, been waiting a long time to get catered to.
I'm out here making great points, and Denise is just like, you just love Destiny Child songs or something. Yes, okay, I get it.
I was gonna say, I do like that song a whole lot. But there's probably a bunch of people right on the chat going, yep, Reg, I feel you. Stephen Marchuli says, a bigger match, Punk versus Bryan or Punk versus Omega? I would say Punk versus Omega.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Punk versus Bryan before plenty of times. I think at this point, since CM Punk has gotten to AEW, that's been the one match where we just like, wonder if he's ever going to face Kenny Omega and how Kenny Omega is. That's definitely the Kenny Omega match.
I want to see it, man. Jake Salazar says, Punk been in the lab.
Yeah, no, he's out there. He's looking big. He's looking angry. He's looking like tough, man. Like CM Punk in his prime didn't look like this guy. So I'm excited to see how he is in the ring next this Saturday. I keep
That
thinking
means
it's
he's
next week, but
pissed.
no, it's coming up. It's about to happen on Saturday.
Well, think about it, Reg. If you were CM Punk and you went through all of this drama, all of this whatever, and you have your side and this and that, what are you gonna do to let out a release, let out some anger?
Yeah, just get in the gym. It's like thinking about those guys. Oh, I can't wait to get back and beat Kenny Omega's ass. Oh, this is me punching Mac Jackson. This is me throwing a chair at Nick Jackson. Yeah, I get it. Motivation.
Hey, you need that stuff. Jake Salazar also says your faves ran in my locker room and we gave him the business. It was 2-on-3 and we won, and I got in trouble for defending myself. CM Punk probably. Jake also says Jeff Jarrett versus Toru Yano would be great, to be honest. I feel like we mentioned this last week, or someone mentioned this. Someone mentioned this last week, didn't they?
Possibly, yeah. I think a lot of people just want to see that match because they're sickos. So you probably seen it a couple times.
Dirty Legs says put the FTW bout on Jarrett. I don't see why not.
Okay. I let Jungle Boy, when they did that promo, he did do a hard look at the FTW belt. So.
All right. Jake Salazar also says Jeff Jarrett for a Ring of Honor PR champion.
Y'all are nasty.
Matt Corso sends in a super chat saying, who do y'all think they would have had Mercedes face if she didn't get injured? Oh, man. I mean, I would love to say Saraya just because of the story and this and that. That would have been great. But I don't know who they would have had her face. Do you have any options for people?
I think the Saraya match probably would have been better in Wembley if that's the direction that they were going. So I'm just wishing that they would have been Mercedes and Toni at this point, just because that's one dream match for Mercedes. Mercedes has like 50 other great matches, but I think for right now, just immediately we could build this thing in a couple weeks. Toni, especially with kind of how the story of like Willow's been a part of their story, like Mercedes could have came in and possibly, I'm so sad that we're not getting this. She could have came in and been a part of all this thing and been at the show. That's like the saddest part of this whole Forbidden Door thing. Like, we're about to get this amazing match, but we could have possibly had Mercedes here too. Damn it.
At least on the bright side, it's only like one person that's out with injury versus last year when we had like a string of people.
Just everybody was out.
Literally everybody, like Punk, Brian. I mean, come on now. Like, damn. Yeah. All right. So another match that was made for Forbidden Door that we need to discuss because it is a big one. That is MJF, your AEW World Champion, versus Hiroshi Tanahashi for the AEW World Championship. On video, they had Tanahashi appear, and he basically just tells MJF, I want you one-on-one. We then get a backstage segment with him and Renee Paquette, and MJF basically says that he doesn't want to do this match because he doesn't want to do anything with New Japan Pro Wrestling. He's called it an indie fed. He says it sucks, this and that. And then on top of that, he says that, yeah, okay, Tony Khan booked me, but I've been known for no-showing matches in the past. And so he says, no, bud, ain't gonna happen. And then by the end of the night, we get the official graphic that, hey, this match is happening. So, Reg, what is your instant reaction to this? Is this the person you thought you would see MJF against?
Yeah, I knew as soon as they announced Bryan and Okada that MJF was probably going to be taking on Tanahashi, just because the story that MJF's been telling for years now. Anytime anyone's like, hey, what about New Japan? He always goes into the spiel. He goes into, they're an indie, they're this, they're not big. I don't watch that shit. I hate all those guys. Like, it's been propaganda against New Japan for many years. And who better to defend the honor of New Japan Pro Wrestling than Hiroshi Tanahashi? It's just like, this guy has been the backbone, the heart and soul of New Japan for so many years. And he's going to come and shut MJF up. And MJF has been telling this story of him hating New Japan. And then he's going to probably go and have this New Japan style match just because of the style of wrestler that he is. It's a very interesting matchup for sure. I'm excited. It's an AEW title match too, which is another big deal. So that gets to put another big win on MJF's belt, which I'm deciding he'll probably go over,
Yeah, right. And here's the thing though too that I want, like you mentioned this, and it's like I know a lot of people MJF has his haters, right? There's still a lot of people saying he can't wrestle. He doesn't wrestle that often. And this is something that he's constantly addressing. But we're going to talk more about MJF in just a second. But I think especially after tonight, it's very crystal clear that you cannot say this man cannot wrestle because he's constantly gone out there and proven otherwise. And so personally, I'm curious to see what this matchup is going to look. And I have a feeling that I may actually like this match more than the one with him and Jon Moxley and Tanahashi from last year, because I remember being into it, but for some reason, like it wasn't my favorite match of the night, but and I thought it was going to be. So for me, it's like, okay, I kind of have a feeling that this one here is really going to, when you're going up against Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay and Bryan Danielson and Okada, and MJF is your champ, so he's going to want to represent well. That is a very tall glass to fill, man. So I think he's going to come in there ready to prove otherwise, and I cannot wait to see this matchup.
Yeah, the thing that kind of gets me the most excited about this and the Jungle Boy and Sanada match is them just taking chances on the younger guys. I mean, Bryan and Kenny are in the main events, but they're like legends. We already know about them. But for them to take chances on people that they want to be the future of their company, as in Jungle Boy and MJF, I think that's a great look for them. Both of them are going to be in big title matches. So I think it's a great look for those young pillars, you know?
Yeah, no, you're right. And the young pillar, I mean, we're talking about the pillars, and hey, it's like we just got that phenomenal 4-way that we saw at Double or Nothing. So I think that it's very crystal clear that the pillars are definitely doing a great job, or just like the young AEW talent in general.
Exactly, all around.
Exactly. All right, so we got to get into, since we're on the subject now of Kenny Omega and Forbidden Door, we need to talk about that crazy ending to Dynamite here tonight. So let's go into it. So we already we've known that it's going to be Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay. And their match at Wrestle Kingdom was bonkers, bananas, highly praised, highly rated, because it was a very, very good match. And now we're going to get to see it on the AEW New Japan stage together at Forbidden Door. But let's talk about what actually went down here in this main event, because there was a lot. So we had the Blackpool Combat Club versus Hangman Page and the Young Bucks. And this started like a hot match. I ain't even going to get into all of the nooks and crannies of this. I want to get into everything that happened afterwards. So really quickly, for the actual win, Adam Page hits that buckshot lariat, a killer buckshot lariat on Wheeler Yuta, and wins this match. Afterwards, we see the return of Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston comes in and attacks Claudio. If you remember, because we were there, Reg, Eddie Kingston lost to Claudio Castagnoli at Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor in Los Angeles. And then we even get an interaction between former besties, Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley. They never actually fight, but they do have like this, get in my face type thing. What
and Eddie is stopping Moxley from getting beat up by the Young Bucks. Like, he's not, like, the Young Bucks are in there and Eddie's like, no, back up my homeboy. But also Mox is trying to fight Eddie at the same time, or he's getting in his face. We don't know what's going on here, but it's very intriguing.
They've got issues, and that's where we're still going to have to see that play out. So then we have Konosuke Takeshita, and he comes in and rolls right in there and punches Nick Jackson. And
hard shots.
Huge reaction to Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega comes in, and he has this incredible face-off with Konosuke Takeshita. They're just going back and forth, throwing rights and lefts at each other. The crowd is living for this. I mean, they are... Takeshita, the reaction that he got in this moment was like if Takeshita has been this like massive star for like years or something. That was the kind of reaction he got. So then he ends up being taken out by the Elite. So the Elite wipes out the Blackpool Combat Club. And just when you think that it's going to end with the Elite and, their hands up in the air, nope. Instead, Will Ospreay comes in and attacks Kenny Omega out of nowhere. And this is pretty much the show ends with Will Ospreay on screen, happy as hell, standing over Kenny. So I know we touched on a lot there. What did you think of just everything?
that started going crazy. I mean, Eddie Kingston, like if they just did one of those things, if they just did one, Eddie Kingston came back, Takeshi that came back, or just Kenny, or just Ospreay, any of those guys just by themselves would have been nuts. But the fact that they stacked them back to back, like you didn't even get a chance to be like, oh, Eddie Kingston, because here comes Takeshi. You didn't get a chance to be like, oh, Takeshi, because here comes Kenny. And then, oh, Kenny, but no, here comes Ospreay. And everybody was just so on. Everybody was hitting the spot so hard. Everybody's facials were great. Everybody played their part perfectly. Bryan Danielson on commentary, just smug at the end, just like, haha, let's clap for this guy. Like, all of it's so great. And to see Ospreay back in an AEW ring's amazing. For them to go off with the show with him just hitting the hidden blade, just finishing off Kenny Omega, telling him he's still thinking about that Wrestle Kingdom loss every single day. Every time somebody talks to Will Ospreay, they're like, well, what about Kenny Omega? He kicked your ass. He came and showed him that it's about to be on Forbidden Door. But they told so many other stories. Like, what's Eddie Kingston doing here? Like, why? Like, like he still wants the Ring of Honor World Championship. That's a great story to be thinking about. The Blackpool Combat Club kind of got played out here. Like, they got beat down. Like, what's going to happen off of that? Bryan Danielson can't be happy about what happened with Will or Yuta getting beat and them kind of getting beat down. And then the Elite, Kenny Omega's back. Are we going to see any Kenny Omega's matches before we get to Forbidden Door? What's going to happen here?
There was a lot in this, and just to touch on more on Ospreay and Omega, I wasn't expecting Ospreay whatsoever here tonight. I think because you know that when it comes to the Forbidden Door build, clearly, like for example, today they did multiple videos. So I think you were kind of expecting everybody to pretty much be on video. There's only a couple of people they've been able to get for, in person, right? Because it's totally different than if they were building to Double or Nothing or any other pay-per-view. It's different when you got, a bunch of guys at all these different places. So clearly, Will Ospreay was a little bit, easier to have there, but still I wasn't expecting it. And I think because we had already had, like you mentioned, all of these back-to-back surprises with Takeshita and Eddie Kingston and Omega and all of this. And then to have Will Ospreay come in at the end, it was just like the multiple exclamation point ending. I freaking loved that they did this. I love that they're finding ways to just to further build this story that they've been telling already. And also, you mentioned something that I wanted to elaborate more on. Was you mentioned the whole thing about they set up a lot here. They really did, because clearly the big thing that we're talking about is Ospreay and Kenny, and then of course the Blackpool Combat Club and the Elite in general. But there was so much more within that. You mentioned Eddie Kingston still wanting Claudio Castagnoli's belt, and so that's one thing right there. But what the hell is going to go on with Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston? That's another thing there.
That's a big story to be told. They could possibly have a match at Forbidden Door at this point. Like, I don't know.
And now, based on that reaction that Takeshita and Kenny Omega got, I feel that I don't know if it was already, I don't know what plans they really had or what scale they had planned for this actual feud there between just Kenny and Takeshita. But whatever it was, I do think it kind of got maximized here today, just like within that one moment.
I don't know if they were I don't know if they were like coming out of this story with BCC and the Elite, the big story is going to be Takeshita and Kenny Omega, but they got here. Takeshita has been looking amazing these last couple of weeks. Like you said, that the ovation that he got coming out there, and he looked like mean. He looked like a villain. He came in forearming people, just destroying people. He looked badass. So I think it's going to be interesting coming out of that, because you got a kind of new big star that's going to be the challenge to Kenny Omega. And when we eventually get a one-on-one match with these guys, Denise, this is going to be nuts.
Yeah, so this was really good. This did so much for like a lot of people afterwards, and even just Bryan Danielson at the end clapping and just being like almost like this mastermind watching it all unfold. It was great. It was such an exciting ending to Dynamite, but we have so much more to get into. Guys, keep sending in those super chats. I'm going to keep pulling them up. We got one from Jake Salazar who says, Soraya, that's crimes against humanity. I know she gets a lot of hate online, but I really do like her.
Yes.
Benoit Richter, YouTube member, also says Omega versus Ospreay was the match of the year so far. Can't wait to see if Omega versus Ospreay 2 or Okada versus Danielson be the match of the night. If you were to say out of those two matches, which one do you think is going to be match of the night?
It's hard to say because, yes, I agree. The Omega and Ospreay is the match of the year so far. That could lead to they already have this amazing match, so the rematch is even crazier. And Kenny Omega and Ospreay are known to have amazing rematches, but Bryan Danielson and Okada are going to wrestle one-on-one. No bullshit, no teams, no partners, no shenanigans. It's going to be these two who many consider the greatest New Japan wrestler of this generation against the greatest American wrestler of our generation, Bryan Danielson. This is generational. Like, it's going to be hard for them not to have the most amazing match ever. Just going in and knowing about the history of Bryan Danielson, I'm just more excited about that match. But Omega and Ospreay will probably be better at the end of the night just because these guys are 10 out of 10. Both these guys do everything amazing, and it's they're going to try to top what they did in January. So I'm just excited, Denise. I just can't believe this. How are we getting this?
I don't know, but you're right. They are going to try and top each other. But I do feel you when you're talking about Okada and Danielson. These are the GOATs, right?
Yeah.
So for me, if I had to make a prediction right now, I do think that Okada and Danielson are going to be match of the night. They're my prediction for match of the night.
I mean, everybody's going to go insane here. All the matches are going to try to be match of the night. And at the end of it, if either one of these matches is, I'm not going to be surprised. But Bryan and Okada got something to prove. Tell you that.
All righty. And we got another one here from James Hammond who says Hook is in his corner because of Five Guys faction.
Oh, yeah. True.
William Pickens says Orange Cassidy versus Zack Sabre Jr. third best match at Forbidden Door ? Dude, well, clearly that match hasn't technically been made official, but we do need to talk about that. Thank you so much to William for. I told you there's so much to talk about on today's show.
I forgot about that.
I know, right? Because there's just so much. But so backstage, we do have Orange Cassidy backstage with Renee Paquette, and then Zack Sabre Jr. comes in because Renee had asked him, like, hey, what's next for you? And then Zack Sabre Jr. walks in and he's like, hey, I heard you mentioned me at the media scrum and I like the idea of being a double champion. We got Orange Cassidy, your AEW International Champion, and you got Zack Sabre Jr., your New Japan Pro Wrestling World Television Champion. So I'm thinking, okay, are we going to do, a title versus title here clearly? And I think this is the direction that I think this is definitely what we're going to get. And they did announce a match for, did they say for next week? I forget.
Yes, next week on Dynamite.
Yeah, Cassidy and Shibata versus Sabre and Garcia next week.
Which is also a pretty insane match that they're just kind of throwing out there. Yeah, it's interesting to see what the match they're exactly going to do at Forbidden Door. I don't know if they're going to go one-on-one. I don't know if they're going to go for both belts. I don't know if it's going to be just for Orange Cassidy's belt. But to see Zack Sabre Jr. again back on AEW TV is amazing. The match at Orange Cassidy is going to be insane. I just want to know, I guess we're getting the Okada match, but we have to get the Bryan Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr. match at some point. I'm guessing maybe All In.
Oh, I was going to say Forbidden Door 3.
I mean, we can wait another year. Okay.
I mean, hey, I don't know. At this point, it's like time goes by so fast.
So fast.
It's nuts. So thank you so much to William, by the way, for this super chat. We appreciate it a whole lot. Yeah. You guys can keep sending in your thoughts as we continue on with the rest of the show. We got Jake Zalazar who says Sanada should be facing Jay White. Thank you so much to Jake for also sending this in. All right. So now let's go ahead and let's rewind to the top of the show because this took up 30 minutes of the show. Yeah. And this is a huge portion of what we need to discuss here for Dynamite today. Damn. Let me read the super chat from Sheldon, who says, so they're not going to do Samoa Joe versus Zack Sabre Jr. to determine who the greater TV champion is at Forbidden Door. They've been building it up on Ring of Honor. So I know you cover Ring of Honor on a weekly basis. Reg, is there anything that you can tell us about that?
Yeah, because I know that's kind of the direction that I thought they were going into it. Sheldon is correct. They have been building this up for 6 weeks now or something. It's been a bunch of weeks, and they've been talking about it. They've been having great promos. They've been tagging together. I thought potentially they were going to do that, but I now feel like they might just do it on an episode of like Collision or something, just going into it. With that being said, I do hope they give Samoa Joe a Forbidden Door match, because I think there's so many interesting characters on the New Japan side that he would be great against. So I hope he's not left out of this.
I agree with you. I agree with that. Thank you so much to Sheldon for bringing this up. Justin Martin says Kingston challenges Claudio to a fight with honor for the Ring of Honor World title at the Death Before Dishonor pay-per-view. Claudio agrees if Kingston puts his career on the line. And this is from Justin Martin. Some
nice booking, Justin.
I like that. I like that. Thank you, Justin. All right. So now let's go ahead and get into this whole situation with Adam Cole and MJF, because this was last week's hot topic. And it's so crazy to me that this took up 30 minutes of the show, and it ended up being like something that we're also talking about, but because everything else that happened, it kind of got pushed a little bit to the side. But I don't want that to undermine what a phenomenal match this was. I'm speaking for myself because I don't know yet what your thoughts were on this, Reg. I don't know what to expect from you anymore.
That's funny.
But real talk though, this was a really entertaining match. It started off with MJF, mocking Adam Cole a whole lot, going out there and even being, doing the sweet chin music like Shawn Michaels and doing the pose, and then going out into the crowd, shoving a fan, this and that, going back into the ring. They did so much here. MJF tries all of these different ways to cheat, and it doesn't work. Adam Cole is still able to, pretty much continue moving on in all of his attempts to cheat in this match. There's a moment where MJF clears the timekeeper's table on the outside, goes to the top rope, hits an elbow on Adam Cole, and given the positioning and the angle of that top rope to that table, it's pretty hard, and MJF nailed it perfectly. And just when you thought, we got a ref bump, we got low blows, we got MJF giving the title to Adam Cole and trying to make it seem like he cheated, but the referee not seeing that, and so MJF's plan backfiring. He tries to use his diamond ring, doesn't work either. And just when you think that Adam Cole had this, because he ends up super kicking MJF, he hits the Panama Sunrise, he hits the boom, he goes for the pin, and the bell rings because the match has run its course in terms of time. The time limit is completely up. And after this, Adam Cole asks MJF for 5 more minutes. And of course, MJF ain't going to give him 5 more minutes. So MJF bounces. And Reg, what did you think of this whole entire very, very meaty story that we got in this match?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I thought they told a lot of great stories here. MJF has kind of been saying all week after that promo through social media how much of an influence that Adam Cole has been on this. And flashes of this showed in the match. Like, he worked an Adam Cole match. He knew Adam Cole counters. It was like, I've been waiting to have this match with you for a long time, and we're going to do it here. Felt like a pay-per-view match. Felt like everything that they were building to was one of these big epic matches. I thought the ending was really good when it first at the 1, 2, and then the bell rings. I thought maybe they were doing like an angle where somebody came out and rang the bell, or something like that. Like I thought they were going to shoot to the bell and it was somebody doing that. But I like that it was like, nah, it was a time limit draw. These guys are really going at it. Like, you get so enthralled in the match that you forget that there's actually a time limit for these world title eliminators. And I thought both guys looked great. MJF has been showing people with every single match that he is a really great wrestler. He's the AEW World Champion for a reason. And Adam Cole has needed this performance so bad. There's been so much talk since he came to AEW, since he came back from injury. Like, Can he still do it? Is he that guy that he was in NXT? Is he the world champion that we know? Can Adam Cole be that guy? And this match showed right here, like, no, he's still Adam Cole. He's still that guy. He's still one of the best wrestlers in the world. And again, the ending was really good. The story that they told with the time limit draw and everything that happened with that was dope.
Dang, you covered a lot on there. And I'm happy that you mentioned that you didn't see the time limit happening there for a second, because you do get so enthralled in the actual matchup that it's not like I'm thinking, oh, what time is it now? You know,
yeah,
hey,
exactly.
No. And so I was watching this, and when the bell rang, I was like, what the?
Yeah, what was that?
It's a freaking time limit. And I'm thinking, why didn't I see this happening?
Right.
There were so many moments where I legitimately thought that the match was that I thought it was over. There was the part where when MJF's plan backfired and Adam Cole did get the boom on him. That's when that was the first near fall that I legitimately thought that the match was over. And then I even started to get worried. I'm like, oh, that would have been a really good finish. What's the finish gonna look like now? And I kind of started going back and forth a lot on this one, Reg. My mind, because I went into this thinking, okay, Adam Cole is going to win because it says an eliminator match. And we're probably going to get a nice little tease, a preview what this match is going to be. And because the way that they started this match with MJF kind of like nearly not taking Adam Cole so seriously, right? I thought, okay, they're going to kind of BS us and we're going to get some screwy, funky finish, but Adam Cole's going to win and that's going to be it. I wasn't actually expecting to get this full this full matchup the way that we did. And so I kind of kept going back and forth on what they were going to do, but not once did I ever actually consider the time limit. I just figured it's going to be flat out Adam Cole.
And that's great. AEW has been building for moments like this forever because they announce 5 minutes, 10 minutes. They announce it every match. So anytime they have a match like this, it's not unexpected, because there used to be moments in wrestling. It'd be like, now we're going to have a time limit match or whatever. And all of a sudden they're like taking time. It's like, you guys don't ever do this. Why are you guys setting this up for this? But since it's been set up for so long, it wasn't super shocking. A lot of people said that after they announced that it had been going 20 minutes, that kind of tipped them off. So for some, it probably hit even harder knowing that the time limit was coming up and he didn't get the 3 as the time ran out. I thought it was a really good way to end this match. Really great way to continue the story, even though it was a world title eliminator and Adam Cole didn't win. It still tell the story of after Forbidden Door, bro, I got something for you.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see how they, how we end up getting to this actual matchup here. Yeah. Who knows if we'll see Adam Cole get involved at Forbidden Door? Who the hell knows? I love this though. This match was phenomenal. I loved it so much. If you did not watch Dynamite today, I would consider watching the entire show. But if you don't have time or don't want to watch the entire show, I would at least definitely suggest that you go out of your way to at least check out this match for sure. We got a super chat here from Chi-Town Spurs who says Takeshita versus Bandito announced for Rampage. We are back. Oh, what? Sorry, I read that, but I didn't soak it in.
Takeshita and Bandito on Rampage.
Yes.
That's hot.
Shit, yes. I'm going to tune into Rampage this week. I got concerned when they didn't even announce any matches, and I'm like, damn, they straight up don't care.
United Empire match too. It's Will Ospreay, Kyle Fletcher, and Jeff Cobb versus the best friends, Chuck Taylor, Trent, and Rocky Romero. So that's also an awesome match. Yeah, they're loading it up for Rampage this week. Probably the last Rampage anybody's ever going to care about, because Collision's starting on Saturday and nobody's going to give a crap.
That's unfortunately true. Sheldon Jackson sends in a super chat saying, I just realized that if they're going to do the rematch between Eddie and Claudio, it may not be at Death Before Dishonor. So where do they do the rematch at, since Death Before Dishonor is on the July 21st, but the G1 climax starts on July 15th, and Eddie's in the G1. Thank you so much for pointing that out, by the way.
Yeah, good point. That Eddie probably won't be at the ROH shows because he's going to be in Japan getting his ass kicked in the G1. So they'll probably I don't know. I think that they're going to start doing ROH tapings in conjunction with the Collision shows. So I could see it potentially happening on the Collision maybe one day.
Nice.
Build that show up more.
Thank you so much to Sheldon for also sending in this super chat. All right, guys, so we're going to keep it going. Once again, if you want to get your thoughts, your comments, your hot takes, whatever it is, or just support this podcast in general, you are more than welcome to send in a super chat. Also, before we continue on, friendly reminder that this Friday, I will be back here to talk about SmackDown. And then Saturday, I'm going to be doing a watch along for Collision and then a review afterwards. So I think it's going to be a good time, Reg.
Lucky us, again, let's shout out California because we get to watch Collision at 5 p.m. So all you people are like, what about Saturday? Blah, blah, blah. We get to, if we want to go out, we can still go out after the show. So suck it, everybody.
Plus, I'm on a budget. I can't go out every Saturday and spend money.
Yeah. Like, oh, you're going to give me a reason to stay home and watch TV? I'm not mad about it at all. Let me get 3 White Claws and go for it.
So, real talk, man. I went to CVS the other day. I bought 5 things, Reg. 5 things, everybody. 5 freaking things. You want to know what those things were? Soap, a sponge, a toothbrush, and 2 powders, okay, for my face. And that came out to, you won't believe it, with taxes, $70.
Oh, you can't afford that. Nobody can afford that. That's not a thing that regular humans. 5 things for $70, Denise?
At CVS.
Oh, and then you still got the long ass receipt afterwards. This is crazy. This isn't the way that we should be living. Like, no one could afford to buy 5 things for $70. Plus, eat. You still got to eat food too.
No, and here's what's worse. I don't have a car right now. I've been using Lyft. And so I was like, damn, $70 plus my $8 Lyft to get here, plus my $8 Lyft to go back. I almost walked back home. The only reason I didn't walk back home was because I was wearing the wrong shoes.
Oh, damn. Lower than prices, CVS. It's crazy.
Come on, like seriously, lower them prices. Dante NYC sends in a super chat saying, I love the fact that Cole did use the belt to smash MJF in the head with it instead of doing the usual babyface thing like he did. I agree. I loved that little touch. I think it just made it so much better because at first I'm thinking, dude, why are you holding the belt for so long? Like,
throw that down, dude. What are you doing?
Exactly. Jake Salazar says, I'm throwing something on the grill for Punk's return this weekend. I've been wanting to buy a grill and I don't even grill, but I want to grill so someone else can grill and I can eat the grilled food.
Grilling. Get the grill, Denise. It's summertime. You're about to be watching Saturday wrestling every Saturday from here on out because Tony Khan thinks we just have all the time in the world to be reviewing all these wrestling shows all the time. They don't care about none of our spare time. They're just like, oh, they have a spare day that wrestling isn't on? Well, we'll put wrestling on that day now.
It was like your social lives ate shit.
Yeah, for real. It's like social life. No, you're about to be at home watching wrestling, dude. All right, dude.
Oh, man.
You got it. You got it, bro. I'll be there.
I'll be there too. All right, Jake Salazar, thank you so much for the super chat. All right, so, and I actually will be at the Collision for the one of the same weekend as Forbidden Door. Yeah, I'll be attending that.
Is that in Toronto also, the Forbidden Door show? I mean,
I hope
the
so
Collision?
because I applied to be there and I applied for media credentials and I didn't even check. I was just like, oh, this is, so I'm assuming it's also in Toronto, right? That makes sense.
Yeah.
I should have probably paid attention to that and I didn't.
That should be a fun show.
Yeah, seriously. Okay, let's get into the Sammy Guevara, Sting, Chris Jericho situation here. So Sammy goes out there and he's being interviewed by Renee and he's talking about having a baby and they're going to have a girl. And there's a mixture of boos and cheers, by the way. And I'm thinking, this man's talking about having a baby and there's people out here booing the man.
They're booing a baby. They don't care.
They don't care. They're like, everybody's having a baby.
Yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, you guys having a baby, real special, dude.
I was thinking about it. I was like, oh my God, how sad. Like, but you know, Sammy's a complicated character, I would say, on AEW television in terms of reactions and whatnot. But
totally.
He's saying he needs to make some changes. Darby comes out there and he basically asks him, like, hey, are you going to stand on your own 2 feet? Are you going to leave the Jericho Appreciation Society? What's going on? Because clearly you're not equals. Chris Jericho comes out and he tells him, like, hey, man, why didn't you call me? Had you called me, you probably would have been champion right now. And Sammy tells him, you know what? Had you called me, you probably wouldn't have lost to Adam Cole. And Jericho wants an apology. Sammy says no. Darby ends up getting in the face of Jericho, and they kind of start to set up like what seems to be a tag team match, but instead Jericho tells him like, oh, do you want us to beat you down, Darby, and you're here all alone? And Darby's like, I'm not alone. Brings out Sting, and then we get a moment between Chris Jericho and Sting in the exact same ring together. Jericho puts his bat up on Sting's chest. Sting does the exact same thing. How did you feel seeing Chris Jericho, who's had such a legendary career, and Sting, who's had such a legendary career, in the same ring together, having this confrontation?
It would have hit a little bit harder if Chris Jericho would have shut the fuck up last week and not been like, oh, I'll never wrestle Sting. Like, why did you have to say it? We could have just saw it and would have been more exciting, but you have to let people know what's coming. But no, I thought it was a pretty good moment. Him putting his bat to Sting's neck and Sting being like, get this bat off my neck, dude. And Sting just like pointing it back at him. And then him pointing the bat at Sting and Sting knocking it out of him like, dude, do not point a bat in my face. I'm Sting. I will destroy that bat. And Sting just looks so angry knocking the bat out of there like, how dare you disrespect the Batman with the damn bat like this, Chris Jericho? Do you want to see Chris Jericho and Sting in a one-on-one match, Denise?
Yes.
You are just...
Yes. Is that not what we're heading towards? Is
no,
that not
I don't
what we're getting?
That.
I want to see it. You want to know? Here's my defense. Okay. In my defense, people have been shitting on Jericho kind of, younger talent getting stuck in the Jericho vortex, right? People have been shitting on that. Well, if we get Jericho and Sting, two big, massive stars that have never faced each other, isn't that so much better than seeing the younger guys get sucked into the vortex of Chris Jericho?
I don't know if I'd say better. That's pretty extreme. Chris Jericho, let me say it again, Denise. Chris Jericho and Sting, they're both, I think Sting is 60 and Chris Jericho is pushing 60. This is almost 120 years old worth of men having a wrestling match. Are you sure? 120-year-old worth of men, okay?
Yes, I am sure. Yes, I want it. I want Sting versus Chris Jericho. Give it to me, baby. Bat versus bat. Bat on a pole match. I don't care. I want
Give it to me, baby, versus bat. The bat match. Okay. Yes.
Hey, I think we can do it. They can do a bat match, right? Just go there and start
I don't
swinging.
know. These grandpas.
We had a mimosa match. What was it? Mimosa Mayhem.
Yeah, we do. And I guess you want Jeff Jarrett to be involved too. Just go all out. Might as well throw him in there
referee
too.
Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, with his bat. With his guitar and his referee shirt.
John Deller says Denise wants Flair back in the ring as well.
I know. She's talking crazy. Jeez Louise. Ew.
Run in by Ric Flair and another heart attack angle like they did on his last match.
What a sick individual that Ric Flair is, man.
Oh man, that was terrible. Oh man. And someone says and Goldberg as well. Somehow we're mixing Goldberg in there.
He always has to be involved. Always.
Hey, you know what? I was about to say, oh, what if? I don't know.
No, what if?
Jake Salazar says, give it to me, baby. Denise thinks she's Rick James.
She does. But yeah, no, I thought the face-off was cool. If this leads to, I hope it's a tag match they're involved in, because I don't want to see Sting in one-on-one matches anymore. All the Sting great moments that he's had in AEW has been involved in some multi-man matches with Darby Allin. One-on-one Jericho and Sting and them both trying to, no, I just can't. I cannot. Absolutely not. I know what kind of match they're going to try to do, and no.
But come on, we were just talking about, matches that Father Time has ruined a lot of matches that we're just never going to see and we're all going to have to accept. And we have an opportunity here to see Sting versus Jericho. There's still hope. So why can't we just get it? I don't want to be in like 40 years from now being like, damn, we never got Sting versus Chris Jericho that one time in 2023.
No, we'll be okay. We'll look back and be like, I'm glad we never got Sting and Jericho was fucking in his Fozzy phase or whatever phase this is right now. This is just not going to end well for either one of these guys. Have your partners have something going on here, because one-on-one's going to be a disaster.
I wonder what we're going to be talking about in wrestling in 40 years from now. I'll be 70, 71.
We're gonna be talking about definitely Triple H's kids are gonna be the champions. Charlotte will probably have a daughter that's 14-time champion by then. Yeah, I think it's gonna be by then. It's just gonna be all wrestling kids. 100% of them are just
or their grandchildren. We might be talking about their kids.
That is a long time from now, 40 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say we might be talking about their grandkids for sure, but we'll see. JR also JR throws in, what about custody of the bat match?
Custody of the bat match, yeah. Jericho needs to give up the bat thing. That is Sting's thing. You can't have two bat guys.
True. Pick one. It's one or the other. All right. So we pretty much already talked about all the major things. I do want to get into really quickly this collision card here. We of course have that 6-man. We won't spend too much time talking about it since we already talked about it last week. Yeah. So let's talk about, we're going to be getting Wardlow versus Luchasaurus. So this match was made after Wardlow defeated Jake Hager, and we ended up having a video or rather a backstage promo from Christian and Luchasaurus accepting the challenge and also attacking and blooding up Arn Anderson. So now we're officially getting this match at Collision. Any thoughts on this one?
I haven't been super high on Wardlow's TNT title reign. It just hasn't really hit. I thought the stuff with my big homie Powerhouse Hobbs was hitting a lot harder. I thought at that point that the show was great. I thought that the reign was going good, and then they got it off the homie. And then Wardlow's just been they haven't figured out exactly what to do with Wardlow. They're like, do we want him to be the squash guy? He can't be the squash guy, though, when we have him against other big names. So I don't know if this is really going to work out. And the match with Jake Hager, I just wasn't that interested in. So I'm not super high on this match, Denise. Luchasaurus, shout out to California guys. I like what's going on here, but I
don't blame you. I ain't even gonna try to convince you. I ain't gonna die on this hill. This ain't the hill I'm gonna try.
Are you into it? Is that your match of the night?
No, definitely not. But you know what? At least this wasn't your every Wardlow match that we have seen. At least this was a little different with Jake Hager. So I'm happy we got a little bit of a different matchup there. And given that Christian's involved in all of this, I am still somewhat interested in this actual storyline. And now with Arn Anderson,
Luchasaurus could beat him
and win the title, because this is a title match, right?
Yes.
Oh shit! It would be interesting because technically it's Luchasaurus would be champion, but Christian would be the minds, because Luchasaurus is just the muscle. He's just the monster. So it'd be like if Christian was holding the title.
Oh, that could be.
You made fun of me last time because I said that Christian Cage should was going to defeat Wardlow last time.
Yeah, you were wilding. Luchasaurus, though, I can see, but Christian, I don't know. But I do like this mastermind Christian thing. He's kind of playing the puppet master, maybe being this is actually my championship, dude. Tricking him. Luchasaurus that just doesn't have a mind of his own. It could be an interesting thing. I think all of that'll be way more interesting than whatever the hell's going on with Wardlow.
Yeah, so I second that too, actually. I would like to see that. Magnum Wade sends in a super chat saying Sting versus Jericho is that we have Sting versus Undertaker at home. Oh, no. Oh, Magnum Wade, you're savage. Jake Salazar says Brody King versus Wardlow would be better.
I agree.
Thank you so much to Jake Salazar as well for sending this in. All right, so now let's go ahead and continue on. We need to talk about the match that we are going to be seeing with Andrade, the returning Andrade versus Buddy Matthews. I actually think this match is going to be phenomenal. I was so excited to see this match be announced. We were talking about Collision sort of being that show that people that don't get much of an opportunity to, get out of catering and go out and do something. And while I think that this is a perfect matchup in terms of Andrade, I think that he'll have a phenomenal matchup with Buddy Matthews, because Buddy Matthews, we've seen a lot of good stuff with him in the House of Black, but I still don't think we've truly have seen what he's fully capable, especially as a singles guy.
1000%. I think for both of these, I still think Andrade, he hasn't really kicked into 100% into full gear. I still think he's just been kind of trying to find his way. And I think this is a great way to introduce it. There's some funny kind of history behind the two guys. Apparently they both wanted to go and be with their girlfriends in another company. So to see them to see both the guys that were missing their babes facing off against each other on Collision is pretty cool. Both of these guys deserve.
Is this a rib?
I
Is
think
this
so.
a rib?
Isn't it kind of sound like it when I break it down like this? Like,
The
wait,
second
both
you
of these
mentioned
guys are
that.
trying to do this. Both of these guys missed their girlfriends. Now they're on the first show of Collision. Very interesting. But yeah, Collision's the land of the misfits. I think we're seeing everybody that anytime we mention wrestling, anytime we mention AEW, they mention the what about Andrade? What about Miro? What about this? What about this? We're seeing all these guys being presented on Collision. It's gonna see what is it gonna be a different feel from Dynamite, you think, when we get to Collision? Or are they gonna try to tell the same stories just with a different
It's got to
name?
be a different feel, but the stories that call for having to do a follow-up on Saturday, then they should do it, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think so too. Oh man. All right. So let's go ahead and get into the other match that was announced. So the other match that was made for Collision was Skye Blue teaming up with Willow Nightingale to take on Toni Storm and Ruby Soho. And this was essentially made after the women's match today between Toni Storm and Skye Blue, which we touched on earlier, where Toni Storm defeated Skye Blue to retain the AEW Women's Championship. Any thoughts that you want to add on any of this stuff with the women here?
I think this is just a cool, good match. Skye Blue has been being built up. It's great to see Willow. I'm hoping that this leads to a match. I hope they announce whatever the women's matches are going to be at Forbidden Door, whether it involves Toni, whether it involves Willow, whether it involves Statlander. I'm trying to see what they're doing with those people, and to see Willow back, starting on this show where I think she could have a good run. I think her being a part of Collision could be good for everything going on here. So I'm excited that they're starting the show like this.
Yeah, I think so too. And then last but not least for Collision, Miro will be
there he is. There he is. He's finally back, you guys. You can stay out of our chats, stay out of everything being like, well, what about Miro? Hear about Miro. Are you excited to see Miro back here, Denise?
Sure. I like Miro, but I don't think I'm like a mega fan by any means. I'm just like, cool, thumbs up. I think I just need a little bit of a reminder of why, because I know I like Miro, but I just need a reminder as to why. Remind me again why I'm a fan, that type of thing.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. I think he's been like his AEW run, the times that he was there are strong. People still talk about his TNT title run. They still talk about a lot of things that he's done, but he's just been gone for so long that exactly like you're saying, you just forget. You're like, well, I don't really remember. What is this guy about? I need to see it.
Exactly. All right. And we got one more thing I want to talk about here before we go, because they did a whole lot in this matchup here. And that was the Mogul Embassy, Swerve Strickland, Brian Cage, and Toa taking on, and Kaun, taking on Sting, Darby, and Orange Cassidy, and Keith Lee. This was a firecracker of a match, and we ended up seeing Sting, Darby, Orange, and Keith get the win here, but there was a whole lot that went down. Sting got the win for his team. How'd you feel about this matchup and how much they packed up in literally a short amount of time?
I thought for what they were competing against for the rest of the show, what they knew was going to happen in the main event and the first match, that they really did a lot of great stuff with everybody involved. My favorite thing about this is seeing the homie Swerve interact with Sting. Anytime you see kind of people, that like came up watching this guy, and to be in the ring with him, and he's still fun. He's still Sting. He's still doing the whole thing. It's just great to see. I love how they started the match with Darby and Sting just barraging him with big stinger splashes and stuff. I thought this is a fun thing for everybody. They teased the Swerve and Keith Lee thing. Are we finally going to put an end to this? People have been asking about this every fucking week too. So I thought they did a lot of fun things. Another great little part of this very action-packed Dynamite that we saw.
Yeah, I agree. And Keith Lee was definitely like, man, he went in there and he was like cleaning house. I was like, damn, bro.
With the purpose. He looked like he was like, no, I'm going to show y'all this time. Y'all going to put me on TV.
For reals. Alrighty, so there you go. I know this was a longer episode, but we just had so much to get into, like just so much to talk about. I want to thank everybody for coming on here and tuning in to listen to this podcast. I want to thank Reg, who's going to be joining me for the entire month to talk about AEW. This is a good one too, because we got Forbidden Door and just so much to talk about this month alone. And then also this Saturday. Do not forget, I will be here doing a watch along for Collision. And then immediately after, I will be doing a post show. Alex, Queen of the Ring, will be joining me for that. That'll be all in the same stream. So just come in, hang out if you just want someone to chat some wrestling with in real time. I think it'll be a really, really good time. And last but not least, Reg, please let the people know where they can follow you and just support you.
You can find me every Saturday. Grapsity Podcast. Me and Philip Lindsay are having a great time over there, still giving you all that great stuff, talking the best stuff in wrestling, basketball, hip hop, anything you could like over there. So definitely check that out. Tomorrow, I think, is Ask Grapsity. You can see that on Fightful Select. I'm on the Ring of Honor post show tomorrow with Kate also. And every Wednesday, I'm on Indeed with Mike, also on Fightful Overbooked. And Denise and I are going to keep this party going for a couple of more Wednesdays. So really dope having me. Thanks for having me, Denise. This is really cool. Reviewing these shows, like you said, they're making it very easy for us to talk some great wrestling. We have some amazing stuff coming. Everything hasn't even been announced for Forbidden Door. There's still some great stuff coming. So I'm just excited about these next couple weeks.
I agree with you, man. It's going to be a really, really good time. And I think next week's show is going to be fun because we'll also be doing like predictions for Forbidden Door as well. Right. And we'll have pretty much like the entire card by then, I'm assuming. So it should be a really good time. You guys can go ahead and follow Righteous Reg on Twitter. We do have the link in the description box below. So you guys can go ahead and check that out. You can also check out this podcast available on Spotify, Apple, Anchor, pretty much any sort of podcast platform. I am on there. And please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. I'm Denise Salcedo. This is Righteous Reg, and we will catch you on the next episode of Speak Now Pro Wrestling this Friday for SmackDown.